What is good with y'all, man? So EA a couple days ago they released information surrounding a lot of just gameplay stuff for Madden 22. I was not able to cover the last couple days just because one they released a lot of different information, and two, well yesterday I didn't have a chance to get to it. Right today though I do because I want to be able to break it down, explain it to you guys because from what I've seen this is a lot of information. So let's go ahead and get right into this, right? All this right here is just mumbo jumbo. Don't worry about this. Let's get to this. So, this is where it starts. Feedback with most votes, comments below the top. Okay, never mind. Let's get to catching, is where it really starts. Sorry. Now, let's really get into it. Catching. Receivers slash defensive backs need to be more aggressive in attacking the ball. Okay, so this is they're just saying this is what the community feedback is giving them. Defenders don't always go for interceptions when in position. Yep. I mean, yeah. Catch mechanics aren't always responsive. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, so dev notes. So let's see, what have they done? There was a lot of work done on catching that did not make either of the playtest builds, so we're anticipating some issues with catching, and players definitely noticed them. There may not be more There may not be a more important system in gameplay than catching, and in that vein, players will experience a lot of improvements to jump height logic that gives players more approach catch radiuses, and there's also more logic that increase catch aggressive for both offense and defense at the point of catch. So basically, what I just got out of that was they've said they've improved, catching physics, logics, all that. But did they really? Because there's a lot of times, EA Sports, they say they did some, and they didn't. So I'm the kind of guy, all right, you said it, but did you actually do it? Because every single year, these fucking idiots say they fixed contains, and contains are always terrible. There's always something wrong with them. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? One really important additional change we want players to be aware of is that holding wide triangle to play ball defensive Madden 22 will carry more risk, okay? Because there are less multiplayer catches being used. Defenders playing the ball have more chance to miss the ball, whereas the range for swats has been increased, making the SWAT mechanic the more conservative but safer play on defense compared. Okay, so basically what they're saying is to pick the ball off, you need to, hit triangle at the right timing, which is already what you're supposed to do. And it's also saying that, SWATs might be, actually a viable thing this year, which in my experience, ever actually physically trying to swat the ball, I could tell you this, it always goes badly and you end up getting fucking agged. You get agged on, or your opponent always ends up catching the ball somehow when you try swatting. Either you hit it in the air, you actually hit the ball and it goes in the air, and then the receiver catches it, or you just completely miss hitting the ball. So I don't know how I feel about that, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of this right here was a lot of mumbo jumbo. You know what I mean? I don't know how I feel about it, but we'll see. They're saying they improved catching logic and just overall, I guess, the realism feel to it a little bit of trying to pick passes off. They didn't really say that they didn't really say they fixed, defenders from swatting wide open picks. They said they improved the logic, but you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. Player movement. So the feedback they got from player movement was the player movement is too slow. Player movement is authentic. Don't change it. And there should be a bigger difference between big players versus small players in speed. Well, this last part, that's not really always true. You could be big and be fast as shit. I mean, height doesn't make a fucking difference in speed. If you're fucking 6'8", but you run like a fucking 4'4", I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that. So this last part, this doesn't make any sense. The first part, I feel like the movement could be tuned up just a tad bit. Make it a little bit faster, open those hips up a little bit. The second one, player movement is authentic. Don't change it. I don't know if I'd say it's authentic. I mean, I don't. From playing Madden 21 Next Gen, I don't know if we call that authentic, right? Let's see what they have to say they did though. With a lot of players experiencing the current console generation for the first time, Xbox Series X, PS5, the feedback towards next gen player movement was very polarizing for the second year in a row. After many years, Xbox and PS4 We know how big the adjustment is for players, but we are confident that more realistic movement system that is used data straight from the NFL is what's best for our players for the future of Madden NFL. I mean, look, I don't have a problem with that realism. Right at the end of the day, I'm gonna play Madden. Is what it is. But it's like if you just don't fuck the movement up. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do this whole realism thing, at least make the movement real. Like Madden 21 next gen movement isn't even really. It's not even really realism. It's fucking sloppy. Like the route running is so goddamn bad on that shit. Like I remember I put Calvin Johnson on a corner route and he ran an out route. Like what the fuck? Like we will continue the quest to make the game as real as being on the field. The feedback on the topic was almost evenly split. I mean, I feel like the community is kind of split on the whole, should Madden go on the realism aspect. Like I said, at the end of the day, I don't care if the gameplay's good and the game is good. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? That being said, we will continue iterating on next gen gameplay, player movement, and some of the specific issues players called out have been tuned and improved. One frequent example mentioned from the playtest was desire for bigger, heavier players to show more differentiation in speed than smaller, fast players. We've done some tuning to widen that gap between the fastest players in the league and everybody else. See, okay, but what I don't understand what they mean by that. Derrick Henry, right? Yeah, he's big as shit, but he's fast, right? The guy's not fucking slow. So you're gonna make a guy that just because he's taller slower? Like I don't under that. See, that doesn't really make sense to me. If a guy is fast, he's fast. What the fuck does height have to mean with any of this shit? I don't know. Maybe I'm reading that wrong, or I don't know. Let's scroll down here. However, two important pieces of the movement equation that we want to mention is that acceleration and change of direction are just important as speed. The acceleration rating controls how long it takes for a player to reach the top speed, and the change of direction controls how long it takes a player to turn, while the speed rating controls how fast. Okay, so they just broke down to what acceleration, change direction, and speed was. Like we already don't fucking know that. Okay. With a relatively small rating range with the acceleration rating where there's a bunch of players between 80 to 84 acceleration across many positions from defensive line to receivers. Some bigger players will reach their top speed faster than some smaller players with lower acceleration ratings. However, the bigger players with lower change directions will be slower at turning and cutting regard. Okay, so basically what they just said was what they literally just said was that whole thing where they were talking about, oh, if you're taller, you should be slower or some shit like that. I guess they just threw that. They literally just broke down those what the hell change of direction, speed, and acceleration was if you already didn't know that. Like that, all this right here was pretty point. Like the catching shit, okay, they actually said, they did some. They this was actually something. They're saying they improved logic. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. This right here is absolutely nothing. They just broke down what the hell things meant. That was pointless. So movement, I thought we were actually gonna get like some actual like some shit was gonna happen here. They didn't. They didn't even say if they sped it up. They all right, whatever. Game stability, game crashes and soft locks. Week one of the playtest had some serious. Okay, I'm not gonna read all this. So basically, they just fixed some issues like crashes, soft locks. I don't even know what a soft lock is, but just game crashes, just general issues with the game that were happening. So that's good, right? Top reported bug suggestions from Madden 22 community playtest. The following bugs have been fixed for launch. Okay, let's see. Receivers are dropping the ball really late after the catch. Okay. Dive tackles are too powerful, and that's what I told you guys. I told you guys this Madden 21. All you guys that like to shoot the gap right at the center and just dive in there and tackle, right? I know what you guys do. That's what you do. You shoot the gap, boom, and you just dive and try to tackle. It's not going to work in Madden 22. I told you guys this, and that's why I said stop doing it. It's going to make you worse when that game comes out. Boom. They patched it. Dive tackles sometimes will wrap a player off the ground to make the tackle no. Yep, I've seen that happen too. Yep. So I told you guys, bro, you gotta stop. You gotta stop doing it. A lot of this fluky bullshit that works in 21, it's not gonna work in 22. That's why I keep trying to tell you guys, stop doing that bullshit. Lower rated QB, lower rated QBs play too well on all Madden. Oh, okay, so they're just saying that Jalen Hurts shouldn't be a demon. Just EA hating. Momentum meter fills up too fast. I think that's the shit in the stadium. The shit in the stadium shit. Whatever, right? Competitive modes, momentum formula, not ready for launch. Honestly, that sounds good for me because I don't really want a whole lot of that. I don't want to see nothing because I've heard there is some stadium stuff that is going to be in Ultimate Team. I don't know if they say it here or what, but I don't even know what it is really. But I don't want to see it. I'll be honest with you. All right, Dev. Now we will not launch with this unique formula for online ranked head-to-head or Ultimate Team head-to-head. We have a formula specific for competitive games that's currently being tested, and we also want player feedback from the base formula after launch so we can make it from adjustments. All right, they're just not gonna have it. Situational pursuit tuning and edge rush is too powerful. Okay, this is good. This is really good. So a huge issue in Madden 21 for I think last gen and next gen. The pursuit angles are terrible. And what's another one? The two-man rush. Now they said edge rush is too powerful, so I don't know. I think they should just say rush in general because even a lot of times when people are sending two, sometimes they're not even sending people off the edges. I know when I send two, um, I'm not sending one off the edges. I'm sending both of my D tackles. So maybe that's what they meant. They just, EA's pretty dumb, so they probably didn't word it right. We have made an effort to make the pass rush heavier, heavier across all game modes to get more realistic time in the pocket and have the pass rush play a bigger part of balancing the game. Okay, well, what they just literally just said right here was they made the pass rush better. That's what it sounds like. We did this by unlocking non-engaged moves for AI-controlled pass rushers on the edge. These non-engaged moves are the speed rushers. Speed rushers introduced in Madden 21 for user-controlled pass rushers. However, we did add some additional levels of tuning to the edge rush specifically so that the ratings match up. The blockers versus defenders is more heavily differentiate. I can't say that word. Then the play test to increase the win chance for really good pass blockers and decrease the win chance for lower rated pass rushers. Okay, well that's good and all, right? If my offensive lineman is better than your defensive lineman, he should block him. That's great and all, but they said the edge rush is too powerful. But the way they just kind of explained it to me is almost like they said, I don't know. Maybe they're saying because you know how the two-man rush, um, you could get insta shedded by it. Maybe they mean like if you send two, a realistic time is you would have 15 to 20 seconds in the pocket. You know what I mean? I feel like it's kind of realistic, right? Especially if you have a good pocket presence, right? And you know how to, keep a clean pocket, right? Maybe that's what they mean. Okay, that makes more sense. I wish they would just come out and say though, like, oh, if you send two, because obviously that's what they know what the fuck we want. Just come out and say it. Why gotta use all this business lingo? Too much pass rush pressure when only here we go. This is actually what I was just saying. Too much pass rush pressure when only rushing two or three on competitive game style. Never mind, they came out and said it. Thank you. To further balance the increased pass rush from Madden NFL 22, we've added some logic specific to the competitive game style so that it will be very difficult to get consistent pressure when rushing three or less. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I just hit my mic. Sorry, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you send a three or two, you should not be getting to the quarterback like that in a snap of a finger. I don't know if you guys could hear that. You probably can't, but it's crazy. Like you just shouldn't. To further balance the increased pass rush from Madden 22, we've added some logic specific to. Oh, sorry. I just read the same thing again. I'm sorry, y'all. Gunslinger and QB releases. Interesting. I can't wait to read this one. For launch, we are distributing the Gunslinger ability to more quarterbacks. We will continue investigating ways to improve QB releases for further title updates while still ensuring that QBs are properly differentiated. I can't say that word. And that all QBs cannot make every throw that an elite QB can make. So this sounds like basically for regs, they're going to add more quarterbacks with Gunslinger. And in my opinion, at the end of the day, I feel like we just shouldn't need Gunslinger to throw the ball. And EA knows it. They know, you need Gunslinger to throw the ball. And it's their way of basically saying anybody with Gunslinger is, they're the best quarterbacks. Guys without it, they just suck. It's kind of the way they're saying. It's just stupid. We got to get away from this whole gunslinger thing, and I hope EA can realize that it's just not good for the game. It's not. QB contain, not always effective in certain situations. I feel like they're gonna break the contains again. Didn't we just talk about this at the beginning of the video? They're gonna the contains. There's always something with the contains. Contain animation now goes deeper into the backfield. Okay. More conservative pursuit angles to keep contain after. Okay. So they're saying they contain, because a lot of times what'll happen is the contains are they're just fucking broken every year. And this year, a particular big issue that'll happen is you'll put a contain, your guy will hit the edge on the contain, right? Your guy's holding the edge on the contain, and then he'll just disengage off him, and then he'll just run in there and sack the quarterback, which is a problem because it's almost like an insta shit. You'll snap the ball, boom, he's holding the contain, boom, then he just comes around the edge and just fucking sacks him. It's just another way to basically just get to the quarterback really quickly. It's a glitch, right? It's not supposed to be like that. From what this sounds like, basically they're gonna hold their contain all the way around. They're gonna hold it all. They're not gonna disengage at some point. They're just gonna hold it, which is how it should be. If you put in contain, those two contain guys should never ever disengage from their blocks. They should never disengage from their blocks. They should always just be holding that edge because that's what they're doing, right? That's what the fuck a contain is. So, like, you shouldn't be getting, if you have a contain, you really shouldn't be getting a whole lot of pressure. Like, your pressure should be coming from those interior linemen. That's how it should be. So, hopefully it's fixed. Probably not, because they can't fix it. They just can't fix contains, bro. Drive summary, in-game banner showing bad clock data is fixed. Excuse me, I'm not really sure what that means. First down line is missing. I've never seen a first down line missing. That must be just something in the beta. Offensive line abilities don't seem effective. Once again, that must also be in the beta because I feel like in Madden 22, offensive line abilities work. The ones that do or work, like post-ups, nasty streak, edge protectors, stuff like that, they work pretty well. I thought they worked pretty good. So that must just be strictly Madden 22. These abilities have been turned and reworked to function more effectively. Well, that's good. Improvements for defense versus tight end delay fades. A lot of you guys are going to like this. Logic to improve QB contain versus logic versus delay blockers. Okay. So basically, a lot of times I think if I put a contain out there is times the delay fade will not block the guy on the contain. Like, I know he'll just kind of stand there, look at him, and you're rolling out, but he didn't block him, so now you're getting sacked. I know that's happened to me so many times, so I guess they fixed that. Tuning to improve pass rusher logic to properly disengage away from a delay blocker. Okay. Logic to improve QB contain versus logic versus blockers and double teams. So, logic to improve contain versus delay blockers and double teams. I want to say, I'm trying to process this all right now. So this is the first time I've seen all this shit myself, so I'm, kind of trying to process. I don't know if you guys can hear my dog barking up there. That's not helping me out a lot either, but logic to improve QB contain logic. I don't know. It's just more contained shit. Hopefully they get it right. Tuning to man coverage to stick. So that's one of the biggest things. If you man up a delay fade now, they will actually play it. But here's my thing. Delay fades will still be viable. They will still be a good option because here's why. Not everyone's going to man that shit up every play, right? There's going to be plays where it's not going to be manned up, and that's where you go ahead and whip that bad boy out and still use him against zone coverage and shit. You know what I mean? So, in my opinion, delay fades will still be, for me, I'm still going to be able to use them, right? I run, the kind of offense I run, it's based around a lot of tight ends and shit. So, yeah, I'm still going to use it. It's not going to be as overpowered as it was in Madden 21, to put it like that, but in Madden 22, it still will be usable. Yeah, it's still usable, which is how it should be. I mean, at the end of the day, it should be usable. They shouldn't just take it out of the fucking game. RPO fixes Tuning to improve the angle of the read defender when playing the QB to avoid faster QBs from being able to run around him. There's a play that I run. There's a play that I run in this ace offset. It's basically where it's an RPO play, but I don't throw the RPO and I don't hand it off to the running back. I have a skateboard stone, Michael Vick, and I just tuck it and run with him. And it's almost kind of like a QB draw, read option type thing. It's basically a design quarterback run for me. And it works pretty well because with a skateboard, you get a speed boost. It's really nice. Um, and right now, what I just read is basically that defenders will be able to play those RPOs better when the QB tries to tuck it and run it. They're going to do a better job of playing him, which is not what I like to hear. The QB will no longer be able to turn and run before completing his first step after faking the handoff. Here's the thing. That just doesn't make sense. So now you can't even run on the RPO with your quarterback anymore. And I think that's really stupid. That's really stupid because they could do that in the NFL if they wanted to. So, right, they're so focused on realism. We're preaching it. But you're just taking the mechanic away from the game, right? Just because other people, don't know how to stop it or they don't know how to do it properly, why the fuck would you take it out of the game, right? That I use that, that's a pretty big play for me, right? I'm spamming every play. I use it when I need it, right at the right time. But it's not like it's overpowered or anything. It's if you can definitely stop it. It's not that fucking hard. To take that shit out of the game is pretty fucking stupid, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Wind direction indicator fixed to show appropriate direction of the wind. Okay, who the fuck? Really? Okay. I don't think I've ever looked at the wind direction when kicking a field goal. I'm not gonna lie to you. Playbooks. Oh, by the way, playbooks, before I go ahead and read this, on Madden School, all the Madden 22 playbooks are live. You guys can look at all the playbooks from Madden 22. Just go ahead and go over to Madden School. There's probably some other places too we can go ahead and look at it. They're all updated. I'll tell you right now, the Seattle playbook is the exact same. Nothing's different about it. I'm running it in Madden 22, straight like that. A variety of updates to all 32 team playbooks have been completed for the launch of Madden 22. Basically, what I just said. Most of these updates were not in the beta. Yeah, so if the playbooks that you saw in the beta for Madden 22, they're not the same. It's different. Like some playbooks are really different. Like the Patriots playbook is really it's really nice. Like there's some the playbooks are different. All right, from what you played in the beta. NFL Live playbook content is already in progress for delivery via title update as an effort to keep playbooks fresh and exciting for players all season long. We'll go more in depth to discuss playbook updates and in the upcoming Gridiron Notes devoted to nothing but playbooks. All right. So, yeah, you guys can go ahead and take a look at all those playbooks. They're live. I've already looked at some of them. The Patriots one is really nice. It's pretty nice. I'll be honest, I'm not reading franchise. Sorry guys. Just not. Fatigue tuning. Players noted that their starters would quickly become too fatigued to play, particularly when practicing in full oh, is this for okay, well, okay, this is literally for okay, this is franchise. These fucking pussies got me. God damn it. Is this all franchise? Hold on, let me see. Franchise feedback. Yeah, this is all franchise, isn't it? Is this franchise fixed? Okay, so this isn't. Nope, this is all. Okay, so it's all franchise. Okay, so we basically went over everything. I'm not going over franchise. So a lot of gameplay information, as you guys can see. A lot of stuff around. They talked about contains. They talked about how the user rush was. Basically, an overall 3-5 type. They went over 3-5. They went over contains. They went over RPOs. They went over the dive tackles. They went over a lot of stuff that was kind of wrong with Madden 22. The only thing I'm kind of not a big fan of is the RPO thing. That kind of has me kind of pissed. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little fucking mad about that because there's no reason they needed to touch that at all. There's absolutely no reason that should have been touched. So I don't know. That's pretty much it though. If you guys got any questions about any other gameplay stuff, you guys can go ahead and follow me over on Twitch. Link is in the description. That bull Chris. Go ahead and drop me a follow over there. But besides that, boys, that is gonna do it. Like, comment, subscribe, man. And your boy is out.